Show starts right now.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Plus, need seats to a game? Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat, get a Vivid Seat. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. It's always a great pleasure to have my next guest on the line, my former colleague here at ESPN, now doing an outstanding job for the New York Times, NBA insider extraordinaire. The one and only Mark Stein is on the line with yours truly. What's going on, Mark? Good afternoon, man. How you doing?
Very well, very well. What's up? Let me guess what you want to talk about.
You know it. You got an article in today's New York Times, and you're talking about Kevin Durant, and it's not just about the Knicks anymore. It's not even just about the Nets. Now a new team has emerged, believing anyway that they've got as good of a shot as anybody at acquiring Kevin Durant to come to their franchise. Educate us about who that franchise is, Mark Stein, and why.
I think you said it well. The Clippers certainly believe that they are going to be a factor in the Kevin Durant running. And, more and more over the last month, and I want to preface this by saying these things are not from Kevin Durant. They're not from Rich Kleiman. They're not from his camp. They are things I'm passing on and relating from what I consider to be sources, insiders, observers who are close enough to this thing to pass on what I consider to be a credible view. And, I've heard from multiple here as these playoffs have worn on that do not sleep on the Clippers. They are going to get a seat at the table here and at least have the chance to make a strong pitch to Kevin Durant. And I think the Clippers believe that they will be right there with the Knicks or anyone else trying to steal him away from Golden State. And I have to say, personally, I do believe it. I do think the Clippers are going to be a threat in the Durant sweepstakes.
Those of us who watch the NBA, know the NBA, cover the NBA, we can surmise why the Clippers would have a legitimate shot. But in the eyes of Mark Stein and the people that Mark Stein trusts and have talked to, why is the reason Kevin Durant is looking at the Los Angeles Clippers? Explain, crystallize for those out there who may not know, Mark, why are the Clippers such a potentially attractive landing spot at this particular juncture?
They're a franchise on the rise. I don't think there's any question. They certainly turn heads with how well they played Golden State in the first round with no stars. Obviously, the Clippers are loading up for this summer, and I totally understand the skepticism because, there's still a part of me that feels it too. My very first beat in this league was covering the Clippers. It was 25 years ago. It was a long time ago. It was a different league, and they were a different franchise. But look, until they get it done with free agents, there will be a skepticism, no matter how much people rave about Steve Ballmer, no matter what the impact Jerry West has had on that front office. Doc Rivers is a championship coach. You can say all those things. Until the Clippers actually get free agents, people are going to be skeptical. And I've kind of maintained this thinking that, they want two. You'll let them get one first. Get one elite free agent before throwing your parade. But this is a very ambitious franchise under Ballmer, and I think they're going for Kawhi and KD. They're going for both.
Are they going to have the space to get both?
They would have to make some moves to have enough to get two max guys. They're not there yet, but they have so many attractive pieces and a well-managed financial situation that if they are so lucky that they need 2 slots, they will find a way. I would say.
Do you believe that the Clippers are confident they've got a shot at KD because the Clippers know what they're building, or because their sources tell them, by virtue of them recruiting Kawhi Leonard and clearly being confident about him for months, that the idea of pairing Kawhi on this squad with a Doc Rivers as the coach, with a Lawrence Frank as your president of basketball operations, or VP rather, with Jerry West as being the right hand of Steve Ballmer, they've got some insight into, those players, considering them above anybody else. Which one is it?
I really think it's just that they're just going to be as ambitious as anybody out there. They are going to aim for the best possible targets, and they're not going to listen to guys like you and me who might say, you're the Clippers, you don't have a chance. I mean, free agency has always been a domain that Jerry West has been fantastic in. I think he already knows what it takes to recruit Kevin Durant and what goes into that and how to make a pitch that will resonate with Kevin Durant. So I'm sure the Clippers are thinking, well, we if anybody knows how to do that, Jerry West is an expert there. So this is Ballmer. I mean, he is as hungry and ambitious as any owner going, and they're not going to listen to naysayers who tell them they can't pull it off.
Mark Stein, NBA writer for the New York Times, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Put into perspective about how worried should the Knicks and Knicks fans be in light of these latest developments, according to yourself?
Look, I think anyone who is any rival team that is building a summer plan around, we're trying to get this free agent, until they sign, you have to worry. I mean, so many things can change. I mean, we still have 40 days to go before free agency. It's been declared by some that, this is a done deal to the Knicks. And, I know you've heard that. And I've had people tell me that. I've had people within the Warriors organization.
Let me interrupt you, Mark. Let me interrupt you, Mark. I said 95%, and the exact thing that I said was it's 95%. I was told not to go to 100% because this is KD that we're talking about here, who could wake up the next morning and change his mind. That's the kind of temperamental dude that he is. That was a quote that I had heard. Are you hearing the same things?
I mean, I'm not nearly confident enough to go 95% with any outcome, but I will agree with you in that, like I said, I've had people within the Warriors walls tell me they believe he's going to the Knicks. That was much earlier in the season, but I did hear that. So I think my big takeaway from this, if you really trace it, we've been hearing Knicks all season long. Late in the regular season, again, this was third or fourth hand.
Right.
I gave it some level of credence. I wouldn't be putting any bets down on this, but I was told expect the Nets to be another team that gets a seat at the table. And then more recently, hearing these things about the Clippers. And I think when you add it all up, nobody wants to say, I don't know, but I can't sit here and tell you I know. I don't know what Durant is going to do in 40 days. And Rich Kleiman, in a public appearance yesterday, insisted that Kevin hasn't made a decision. So, I think you have to give that credence and listen to it instead of jumping and saying this is definitely what's going to happen. I'm certainly not going to do that. I cannot sit here and tell you exactly what's going to happen in 40 days.
What kind of blood is being sniffed or seen by teams that are going to compete for these marquee players in free agency, in particular the Clippers, in light of all the mess that we've been seeing transpire with the Los Angeles Lakers in recent days?
I mean, you want to talk about franchises that should be worried. I mean, the Lakers are at the top of the list because you very rarely hear their name mentioned with any of these guys. Now, I watched Magic's interview with you on First Take like everyone else, and I saw Magic say he's not even buying Kawhi to the Clippers. he thinks the Lakers have a shot there, and I think the Lakers probably do feel that they will have a swing at Kawhi and they will have a swing at Kyrie Irving. They believe that. Is it true? I mean, only time will tell, but you asked me if the Knicks should worry. I would be far more concerned if I'm a Laker fan right now with just the mess that front office, the image that they have. I mean, if you're a free agent and I just don't know why you would want to step into that situation right now.
Do you consider, in all your years of covering the NBA, do you consider LeBron James to be a great recruiter?
I don't think he's, I don't think you can say great. I mean, he's never really been in this position where he's, got a team that's got tons of cap space and has the ability to go out and really target guys. I mean, last summer the Lakers were in a similar position, but he just got there, and he signed there himself, and all the other free agents moved. I don't think last summer was a fair reflection, but look, he's their only shot right now. I mean, the Lakers better hope he's a great recruiter, because I don't see any other way they get a marquee guy unless LeBron and Rich Paul can convince a Kawhi Leonard or a Kyrie Irving to come in via free agency. They're not going to get one. I mean, if it's left up to this front office, it's not going to happen.
If the New York Knicks don't end up with Kyrie and KD, where can they possibly go from there?
And as upset as you were when they didn't get Zion, I'm worried about you that next show the day after. If Durant and Kyrie end up on different teams.
I'm worried about me too, bro. I'm worried about me too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm very, very worried about myself.
I mean, they traded Porzingis and they got 2 future firsts from Dallas, and everyone around the league, the instant reaction to that was the Knicks know something. The Knicks would not have done that unless they have assurances from someone that cap space is going to be put to very good use. If they strike out on their top 2 or 3 guys, wow. That's gonna be your July 4th fireworks right there.
Mark Stein right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. What you've seen from Kawhi, what's the prevailing thought about him? That this has got him leaning towards staying in Toronto, or that it's still a foregone conclusion that he's going to depart from there for L.A.? Talk to me about that for a second.
I think I said it the last time we talked, and it has not changed for me. There's very little Kawhi buzz, and that's he doesn't talk to anyone, and there's just it was all year long. It's been Clippers, Clippers, Clippers. He's going to the Clippers. I mean, that has been just a mantra for months, but there just isn't a lot of chatter about him circulating. I don't think. Whereas I feel like rival teams who are observing this, and obviously everyone in the league is talking about this. I mean, this free agent summer is so huge. This is what teams, they're constantly trying to pinpoint where they think the top free agents are going. But I don't hear many teams trying to guess with Kawhi because it's futile. And I guess there is also the factor that he's already won a championship. So he doesn't necessarily have to go into free agency saying, where am I best positioned to win more championships? He's already got one. He already is a champion. So I think rival teams aren't even sure how much that means to him. But look, the Raptors are putting together a better season than I think a lot of people expected. They turned this series around. I mean, the Raptors will have to feel if they can get out of this conference finals and advance to the finals that they've helped themselves. I'm sure they feel that way.
Mark Stein right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Before I let you get on out of here, I thought this Milwaukee-Toronto series was over. I thought it was a wrap and Milwaukee would be in the NBA Finals and the Golden State Warriors would have their work cut out for them. Now I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks and I'm saying they'll be lucky to survive this series. What have you seen from both of these teams? How do you see the rest of this series unfolding, and what are your thoughts about them?
Well, I think the reason people like the Raptors' potential what they could do defensively as a group. And they've got, they have discombobulated Milwaukee. I mean, the offense we saw from the Bucks in that game 4 was worrisome, to say the least. And that's what this Raptors team can do to you with all the defensive specialists they have, and then they go out at the trade deadline and they add Marc Gasol to that mix. So, naturally you would think Milwaukee's going to function better when they go back home in a game 5. But it's a blessing and a curse, I guess, when you look at this. I mean, the Bucks have played, they went through a whole regular season, and now in the third round of the playoffs, so basically 100 games into the season, they've reached their first crisis. That's amazing when you think about it. But it's also late in the game, and for them to kind of, they haven't faced adversity that often. It's a new thing for this group. So it just makes you wonder, how are they going to cope now with what really is their first dire situation? I suppose you could say Boston going in there and winning that game 1 was close, but obviously they rebounded from that fantastically. This is a much higher, the bar is higher for them now to turn this thing around.
Do you see either of them beating Golden State even without Kevin Durant?
I don't. I've been saying it since the end of the Houston series. The Warriors went to a new gear after beating Houston in the manner that they did. And I'm still of the belief that we will see Durant back at some point in the playoffs. The Warriors have not declared that firmly. They haven't even told us the specific severity of the calf strain Durant suffered in terms of whether it's a grade 1, 2, or 3. They've been very hush-hush about his recovery, but sweeping Portland, giving themselves 9 days off, I just think we're going to see Durant and Cousins at some point in the finals. I mean, both of those guys were hoping to find their way back on the floor during the conference finals. The conference finals went too fast. They didn't even get the chance. But with 9 full days before they even have to play the finals, I'm just betting that we see both.
If Kevin Durant doesn't come back and the Warriors still win without him, does it make it easier for him to leave or stay?
Probably makes it easier for him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I don't know, man. That's a good math. That's a good math teaser. I don't know. I don't know if it makes it. I don't know, but
we'll find out.
They need him. I still believe they need him, and they're going to say, whoever it is, the Raptors or the Bucks, that's a tougher assignment than a limited Portland team. And they've won 5 games without him, and they've been amazing. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and really all the bench guys have everyone on that team has lifted their level since Durant went down. That's hard to sustain for another 4 wins.
Mark Stein, appreciate you as always, man. Great work as always, man. We'll talk soon, all right? You take care of yourself.
Sounds good.
All right, my man. The one and only Mark Stein, former colleague here at ESPN. Obviously now an NBA writer extraordinaire for the New York Times, does an outstanding job covering the NBA. He's been my buddy for years. Look forward to talking to him as always. 888-SAY-ESPN is 888-729-3776. Let's go to Isaac. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Isaac.
How are you, Stephen A? I'm a huge fan of your show. I really appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you.
I just wanted to speak about the Knicks' third pick. The third pick.
Yep.
A lot of people are saying that they're looking to trade it for Anthony Davis and looking to get, a key aspect player. But no, I don't think anyone's looking at how they would play if Kyrie or KD came to the Knicks with RJ Barrett. I feel like he would be an amazing front court player for them because they have a very good...
Stop right there. Stop! Are you telling me that if the New York Knicks at the number 3 pick have an opportunity to draft RJ Barrett out of Duke and they get KD along with Kyrie, that your preference would be to keep RJ Barrett instead of including him in a package that would land Anthony Davis?
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks have a very young front court, and it could definitely get better. and I feel like their backcourt is not the problem right now. I feel like they have Dennis Smith Jr., which can stay maybe another year with the Knicks, and
I just want to
I
be
don't
clear.
know.
I just want to be clear. You would rather pass up on Anthony Davis than include R.J. Barrett in the package for Anthony Davis.
That question is hard to answer, but like you said, KD has so many options. You don't think Anthony Davis has so many options to go to either LA
Anthony
or
Davis does not have a bunch of options because he's under contract and he's at the behest and mercy of the New Orleans Pelicans. Otherwise, he'd have been in LA last year. It's not his call to make.
That's true. Very true.
All right? Gotta go. Appreciate the call, man. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. By the way, I got something to say about the Giants, and I'll get into that in just a second. Don't touch that dial. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. People, I'm here to tell you about Zelle, a quick and easy way to send and receive money right from your banking app. Not sure what to get someone for their birthday, graduation, or housewarming? Send them money with Zelle, a truly one-size-fits-all present, so they can buy whatever they want. The money goes directly into their bank account, typically within minutes if they're already enrolled with Zelle, so they don't have to wait long to spend it on a perfect gift for themselves. Look for Zelle in your banking app or get more info at ZellePay.com. Terms and conditions.